So Amazon brought, you know, they've got the money to pay everybody $175 to saturate Otay with 20 trucks right now. What's the real play here? Man, I was driving down here thinking, kind of anticipating what I was going to say. I mean, I was going to start this one off with saying, like, so far, Prime has been, like, kind of, like, real weak. I mean, just not really seeing those Prime Day rates that we've seen in the past. And I was actually excited to start this one tonight because I woke up late planning on working tonight, and I booked this little $5 a mile empty move from Otay up to Riverside. I mean, I was all excited. I just checked into Sand 5 for it, and then kind of share with you what I think really is going on here. I saw several of these on the load board, which is like, okay, well, you know, and when I saw them, it's like, great, you know, Prime Day's going off. You know, we're going to finally see those Prime numbers. I saw multiples of them, though, which I was like, okay, well, they sometimes do that. They do these trailer adjustment moves. You know, maybe they need multiple trailers ran up there. I just checked in the gate at Sand 5. There's like me. You're all right, Lou. There's like me. Keep in mind, right now it's 9:12. There's me and like at least 10 other trucks who have shown up for the same thing. And it's still, the start time on this one's not even until 10 o'clock. So if it's already 9:12 and they've got, you know, at least 10 trucks here already, I think what the real play here is, so we all have 10 p.m. Scheduled arrival times, which means that we all have 11 p.m. departure times. And I think what's really happening here is, I think that, see, Amazon has the money to pool a bunch of trucks all together. Well, now we're all going to be competing for whatever loads are going to show up later. And I think the real move here, and I'm kind of curious, I'm watching the load board now to see what's going to happen, but I think the real move here is, I suspect between 11 and 1 o'clock, they're going to start putting all these low-paying, hey, we need one taken to Tucson, hey, we need one taken to Vegas. Now, me, a local guy here in San Diego, my house is like 10 miles as the crow flies that way. Cool, I'll come out and I'll just take the Tonu and I'll stick around and see what else happens. But you figure some of these guys showed up, I mean, who knows how far of a distance they traveled, all that type of stuff. So I think that's really what's going to be in play here, is like, what's going to happen between 11 and 1, how many of these, you know, Tucson moves, these, what's that other one they send things to in Arizona all the time? They always send it to, Lichtfield or something like that. They're you know, that's what I'm sure the ulterior motive here is, you know, let's pool a bunch of truckers into one area. I'm curious to see how many trucks show up between now and 10, because I mean, you figure if you got a 10 p.m. arrival time, some of these guys aren't even going to be showing up until like probably like 9:45, 9:50. So if there's already 10 trucks here now, can't wait to see what shows up. But we'll see what happens. Gonna have to call ROC, get a Tonu. They've already assigned me a case. I wish that Amazon would just cancel it now. Like, I've already got a case. It for sure is gonna get canceled. But now I have to wait until 11 to request that call back from ROC. Then they'll cancel it. Then they'll pay me the Tonu. But it just kind of kills 2 hours of my night of just sitting here. And I like showing stuff like this because this is part of it. I mean, I like showing the good of Amazon, but then there's the bad of Amazon of like, I'm gonna sit here parked for the next 2 hours. Yay, I'm not burning any fuel, but I'd like to go out and book something else, and I just can't. So if you're watching me and you're not in trucking yet, I will tell you, get yourself a hobby, get you a dog, start a YouTube channel, do something. I kind of spend my downtime out here. Lou and I are taking a walk. I just left Sand 5, which is right up there. If they get a trailer for me, I have my phone. It'll tell me in the app. I don't think that's going to happen. If I call from here, ROC will still cancel the thing. But definitely get something to spend your time, because, you know, to just be told, oh, hey, just go hang out for 2 hours, my mind's not wired like that. So, I mean, I spend my time currently rewatching The Sopranos. I saw it back in the late 90s, early 2000s, watched it, but I'm just rewatching it again. I'm on like season 4, episode 4. Take Lou for a walk. I make videos for you guys. And we're out here beneath the lights at Donovan State Prison. All right, Lou and I just got back from our walk over to Donovan. It's 10 o'clock now. I did want to check back in with you. The reason 10 was important, that's when the scheduled arrival time was for all these multiples. When I got here like almost an hour ago, there was like 10, 15 trucks. I'm now looking up at like 20 tractors. Now I'm making the assumption, I'm not going to go knock on everyone's door and say like, hey, are you here for the Riverside load? But I see them all sitting where like the trucks are supposed to wait, and it's there's like 20 of them. There's two things about this situation I want to point out. One, people are always asking me about like load board strategies. Here's something you got to be aware of. This load that I booked was arrival time 10 o'clock, scheduled, not departure time. The arrival at the second place was at 4 a.m. you would be crazy right now to be in my position and book another load. Like, let's say, I mean, here's what I know right now. I know that at 11 o'clock, I'm going to call ROC. They're going to cancel this load, and I'm going to get a $175 tonu. Let's say I'm looking at the load board, and they have this just honey of a load that starts at 11:15 at Sand 5. I would be crazy to book it, because between now and 11, this load is going to show up in my queue, making me an ineligible driver, and you have to assign a driver to it before then, and that can accept that affects your I think it's not your acceptance, it's one of the metrics, app usage or disruption free. I think it's disruption free. They'll move that down if you don't assign it a driver. I will be able to assign it a driver after 11, after I hear back from ROC, but between now and then, I'm technically an ineligible driver until 4 a.m. I also don't want to book a load at 4 a.m. because I don't want to commit to being out all night. But just something to keep in mind, if you do find yourself in a situation where you're 100% positive it's going to get canceled, you don't want to book anything that starts close to that other time, or because basically you're like double booked during that time. So I'm not even looking at the load board right now. I kind of am a little bit, because I want to see what the fallout of these 20 trucks being here. And I feel like that's kind of the second point I wanted to make. So Amazon brought, they've got the money to pay everybody $175 to saturate Otay with 20 trucks right now. What's the real play here? I think the real play here is, I'm now looking at the loads that are dropping on the board. It's like they've got a Sand 5. Hey, there's 20 trucks at Sand 5 right now going to this third-party site for $1.98 a mile. That's the real play. HSD2, which is like 4 or 5 miles down the street, going to Moreno Valley for $1.97 a mile. That's the real play. Chula Vista, up the road just a little bit, going to Eastville, $1.85. That's the real play here. San Diego SDM4, which is another acronym for Sand 5, at this same place. They just dropped this one, going over to Phoenix. Leaves in 30 minutes, $1.86 a mile. So I think that, I mean, I hate accusing Amazon of stuff, but I mean, when you saturate a market with 10 to 20 trucks, and all of a sudden and you entice people to that area, I'm not gonna fall for that. I'm too measured. I'm too disciplined for that. It's like, okay, yeah, you brought me down here $175, but not every single one of these trucks. I mean, some of these guys, who knows where they deadheaded from? Maybe they are looking for that next load. Maybe they are thinking like, hey, I can't take the 170. I can't take just the 175. Sure, I'll go to Phoenix for $1.86. So I see stuff like this. These reoccurring things happen all the time, and it does make me think. It's like, did Amazon just want to pay out like, $3,000 in tonus tonight, or was there another play involved? And I think this is the other play. So am I running up to Manteca for $1.47 a mile? Nah, that's not going to happen. But I'll tell you what I am going to do. Lou and I are going to head up here to my favorite place and get some tacos al gordo. Okay, made it back to the truck. Excited for these tacos. I got there and they were out of adobada. And that's heartbreaking for me, because I usually like to mix it up, but I went ahead and went with 3 carne asada ones. That'll work out all right. Luke can have some, but I picked up another load while I was over there waiting. They dropped this little Sand 5, returning to Sand 5. Quick little shot up to, this is DSD4. Let me go ahead and assign myself as a driver to this. I need to do that. That starts at 1:15. It's kind of been indicative of how Amazon's been lately. Like last load was added. Yeah, I just added myself as a driver. Load was added. View schedule. Yeah, Sand 5 to DSD4, back to Sand 5. I've seen this go for more, but it's just one of these things like, hey, it's kind of like a load of circumstance. I'm out here, feel like doing something. I'm not going to Manteca for 147. All these little trips, I mean, there are times like this where there's times where it's like you can get big trips and, have big days. I feel like the last 3 days has been like, it's kind of like, would you rather make 3 nickels or 1 dime? And so that's kind of where I'm at. But, another thing that indicates these little trips, I got to the truck and the regen light just came on. Now, when I'm doing the shuttle hostler gig, I have to regen the truck about every 2nd or 3rd day. I haven't done the shuttle hostler thing in at least like a couple weeks. And this is the fact that the regen light is already on is like, in fact, if I'm due down there at 1:15, I should start this regen now. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. Got a flashing light. There goes the RPMs are revving up a little bit. I'm gonna eat these tacos and check back in when we get on that next load. All right, so tacos El Gordo was delicious. I got this last minute load halfway done. Got the loaded trailer up here from San 5 up to DSD4. Just waiting on this red light. Where is it there? Right there. Waiting for this red light to turn green, listening to my dog bark in the truck. I will tell you, absolutely, get a screenshot when that thing comes up on your screen about not opening the seals of these things. I wish that Amazon would kind of put everybody on the same page with this stuff, because I just had the guy I was dropping off here. The guy was totally nice, but he's like, oh yeah, no, you're supposed to open the back, and I showed it to him. I'm like, look, this is what Amazon sends like owner operators, third-party drivers, that type of stuff. They tell us, do not open it without your permission. I'm happy to. I have the tools to do it, but I just need you to tell me to do it. He's like, absolutely. And he had there was like a coworker with him. And they're both like, I can't believe they would tell you that. Like the people inside the building don't know. And I hate to kind of say I kind of hate to assume that everything is like a trick, everything's a trap. But the fact that they're, telling us one thing and not telling the people who work for them inside the same thing is kind of like, what's going on? The last thing I want to do is think I'm doing the right thing, open up the back of one of these trailers, cut the seal, and then get some email saying like, you were on video opening the back of the trailer after we've instructed you not to. So it's kind of a pain in the butt step, but protect yourself. Keep that screenshot somewhere where you can show employees it and be like, hey, I'm glad to do it, but I just need your permission too, like they've instructed me to get. I want to circle back to what I was saying about, or what I said earlier about, those possibly being a trick, putting all those high-paying loads on there, $5 a mile loads going up from here to Riverside. Okay, if there were multiple loads posted an hour and a half to 2 hours before the scheduled arrival time, that makes sense. There's a crisis. Amazon's willing to fix it. That absolutely high probability that's going to go through. If they did one load, 5 hours before, and it was, high rate, something like that, that makes sense. It's a high priority load. They want to be sure it gets covered. But the fact that they put multiples, and there's probably like 20 or 30 of them, $5 a mile, 5 hours before the scheduled arrival time, Amazon's not in the position to have to do that. They could put those on there for like $2 a mile, let them sit on the load board for a while, increase them incrementally, and then, if there's any left right before they're all supposed to leave, sure, bump them up to $5 a mile. But that's why I just want to be sure that, I make that clear. That's why I think this was a trick. And I think that the trick was to get somebody to go to Manteca for $1.47 a mile, which I'm not going to do. Ended up booking 4 loads tonight. 1 got canceled, 3 went through. The other 3 were just kind of trying to take advantage of, what situations I could, just see what's out there. So anyway, kind of a decent night. Even though it is late in my day, I'm gonna head in here to the 7-Eleven on Grand and Spring Valley, go grab some coffee, because I need to be up for a few more hours to get those kids to school. Appreciate you taking the trip with me. As always, hope this video serves you well. Take care.